Welcome back to a Sly Cooper theory video. Now, don't we all absolutely love the ending of Sly Cooper 4? I mean, that cliffhanger is just perfect. 10 out of 10. No, but really, we all keep wondering, when are we going to get a proper ending? That's not how the story is supposed to end. Leaving Sly stuck in ancient Egypt is just a terrible way of ending the series. If Sanzaru wasn't too sure about Sly 5, then why even make a cliffhanger like that? This one huge cliffhanger leaves one huge question unanswered. How will Sly return home? Sly's pretty much lost at this point. Does he even know where he is? How is Bentley supposed to find him? This is exactly why I'm bringing you guys this video, to go over these things. How will Sly return home? How will he figure out how to contact Bentley? With that being said, let's get right into it. First things first, how are we so sure that Sly is actually stuck in ancient Egypt? It's simple. Sly 4 was originally supposed to have an episode in ancient Egypt, and I'm assuming it had to do with Slytunkhamen I. Unfortunately, due to the PS Vita's size limits, it got removed, so there you have it. Sly is stuck in ancient Egypt. Let's leave it at that, alright? Now, is it a coincidence that he ended up in ancient Egypt? Maybe, or maybe not. Is it due to destiny, maybe? Why am I saying destiny? Well, a short while back, I came up with a video talking about Slytunkhamen I. In that video, I mentioned that Sly could have perhaps influenced Slytunkhamen I. He probably influenced them to start a Thievius Raccoonus, or who knows, maybe Slytunkhamen's canes were inspired by Sly's. And there's one thing I forgot to mention in that video. In Sly 2, there's an episode where Sly's canes would split into two. Bentley modified those canes, so maybe Slytunkhamen I saw those canes and he wanted them, and he built his own somehow. But anyways, let's not get into that right now. Okay, now in Sly 4, we had Bentley's time machine. How did his time machine work? The van, being the time machine, required an object from a specific era. If one wanted to travel to a specific time, an object from that specific time would be required. That's how Bentley's time machine operates. Now the problem is, he needs an object from ancient Egypt in order to find Sly. Without an object, artifact from that specific time, Bentley can't time travel. How is he even gonna find out that Sly is stuck in ancient Egypt? That's like the biggest mystery in the series right now. Compared to Le Paradox's time machine, built by Penelope, Bentley's time machine is pretty much flawed. Penelope's time machine doesn't require an object from a specific era. You simply input the year and you time travel. How did Penelope even come up with that time machine? Well, she pretty much stole blueprints from Bentley and she modified them. If Bentley were to use Penelope's time machine, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference. It would still require the gang to input a year. They don't even know the year in which Sly is stuck in. Anyways, Bentley can't even use Penelope's time machine. It crash landed in ancient Egypt. Unless he decides to rebuild it. But he needs blueprints. Could Penelope help Bentley? That we don't really know. I mean, the way she just betrayed the gang in Sly 4, I don't know. It seems like she's leaning towards the dark side. Plus, she was in prison and escaped. She's a fugitive at this point. So her helping Bentley? I'm not too sure. Maybe she still has feelings for Bentley, but no one knows really. However, she's been sending a bunch of postcards. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. I did mention them in my old videos, but there's something extra I want to go over. But before getting into that, let's get back to Sly being stuck in ancient Egypt. How is he going to return home? There's one thing I can come up with. Remember in Sly 4 when the pages of the Thievius Raccoonus started fading? That was because Le Paradox was messing with the timeline. He was messing with the Coopers, and because of that, stuff that were recorded in the book started to fade away. Okay, what does this have to do with Sly being stuck in ancient Egypt? If contents can disappear from a book just like that, what if you can add in new stuff? And what do I mean by that? What if Sly finds the original Thievius Raccoonus and sends a message to Bentley? Think about it. By messing with the past, content from the book disappeared. Why not add in new stuff from the past? Why not have Sly write his whereabouts in the Thievius Raccoonus so that Bentley can see it in the future? But wait a sec. People in ancient Egypt wrote on papyrus, on scrolls. Wouldn't Sly have to write on papyrus as well? Did the Thievius Raccoonus start on papyrus? If so, wouldn't that require someone from the future to copy the old stuff and put them in the actual book we know? If we look at the writings in the Thievius Raccoonus, they all look the same. It's as if someone took the time to completely update the book. They took the original content and copied it inside the book using their own writing. If this is true, then wouldn't this ancestor or person need to write down what Sly wrote in the original Thievius Raccoonus? This person would probably be copying the stuff in the book, and then suddenly he realizes that a sentence appears. Now would he write that down? Would he or she write down, "Help, I'm stuck in ancient Egypt" in the Thievius Raccoonus? Anyways guys, let's not get into that, it's a bit confusing. Let's just go with the idea that Sly finds the original Thievius Raccoonus and writes inside it. If Sly writes down, "I'm stuck in ancient Egypt, help," then wouldn't his ancestors see the message as well? Yes, the Thievius Raccoonus has been passed on for generations, so it makes sense that one of the ancestors would find that message inside the book. And if they do find this message, is it going to affect the future in any sort of way? No one knows really, one can come up with many ideas. Could Sanzaru, Sucker Punch, or anyone use this as a way of introducing new ancestors? Maybe these new ancestors would be the one who would see the message in the book, Sly's message. And by seeing the message, they might write down a lot more in the Thievius Raccoonus. By writing down more, that could maybe perhaps affect the future in some way. In order to avoid that, the gang has to time travel to those periods and kinda explain what's going on. But anyways guys, let's get back to the main point. Sly writes down a message in a Thievius Raccoonus. Bentley in the future sees it. He'll probably read something like, "Help, I'm stuck in ancient Egypt." And to make things easier, Sly might mention that he met Slytunkhamen I. Once Bentley realizes that Sly met Slytunkhamen I, he'll try to look for an artifact, an object, which would let him time travel to ancient Egypt. Here's a little twist. Bentley realizes that the object he needs to time travel is missing. Maybe someone stole it. Maybe someone who hates Sly so much decided to ruin Bentley's plan. And without that specific object, then time traveling is pretty much impossible. Unless Bentley tries to come up with a time machine that's very similar to Penelope's. But like I said before, could Penelope help? We don't know. The way she betrayed the gang, it seems like she is the bad guy. Could Penelope steal the artifact that's needed to time travel to ancient Egypt? Think about it. This brings me to the postcards. During the ending of Sly 4, during the credits, Bentley mentions that he's been receiving these mysterious postcards. Let's take a closer look. There's our logo in every postcard. Notice the locations. Wasn't Sly in those locations? We had a trailer in which we saw Sly. We have this plane from a short cinematic. Could these postcards mean that Penelope is trying to look for Sly? Is she trying to redeem herself? Is she trying to find Sly? Is she planning on saving Sly? I don't think so. Something tells me she's spying on Bentley. She's trying to figure out what he's up to. The moment Bentley realizes how to time travel to ancient Egypt, Penelope steals the artifact needed to time travel. If that happens, Bentley has to come up with another plan. What else can he use to time travel to ancient Egypt? The Thievius Raccoonus. The Thievius Raccoonus began in ancient Egypt. Slytunkhamen I is the one who started the whole book. But time traveling with the Thievius Raccoonus on you is risky. Bentley even said this in Sly 4. He let Dimitri look after the book. Bringing the book with you is risky, and why? Because 1, you can lose it, or 2, someone can find it and do something crazy. Let's say Bentley takes the Thievius Raccoonus with him in order to time travel. What if he loses the book in ancient Egypt? If that were to happen, someone would eventually find the book. And who would that person be? Could it be a psycho, a maniac? Could it be someone like Clockwork? A lot of us assume Clockwork comes from ancient Egypt, judging by the fact that we see him behind Slytunkhamen I in this picture. But wait a second, some of you might ask, but didn't you find out about the Thievius Raccoonus in Sly 1 in the introduction? Maybe or maybe not. What if you already knew about the Thievius Raccoonus, but didn't really do anything until then? I'm not gonna talk about Clockwork, I'm gonna leave him for another video, alright? Now we know that the blimp crashed in ancient Egypt. Could Sly use some of the parts to go back to the future, the present? Knowing Sly, he's not the technicky guy, so I don't think so. And plus, the whole blimp is pretty much busted. Okay, let's go back to Bentley's time machine. His time machine requires an object to travel to a specific time, right? Why not just travel a few days or a week before the events of Sly 4? Like before Sly fought Le Paradox. And if he did that, he would warn Sly not to do what he's doing. Bentley would tell Sly to be careful, or else he'd get sucked into that portal. However, I don't think his time machine will give 100% accuracy. You need an object from a specific time to time travel, right? But what kind of object would he need? I mean, who knows, he could pick up an object, thinking that it would take him to the time he wants to go to, but then realizes that it doesn't. He realizes that he time traveled way too far. What if he suddenly ends up at the night of the fiendish attack? That would be very sad. What object would guarantee him to time travel to the time before Sly fought Le Paradox? What do you think about that, guys? Would it be possible for Bentley to time travel a few days early? Could Sly eventually find the Thievius Raccoonus and write inside it? Could Sly writing in the Thievius Raccoonus affect the future? Will some of his ancestors see the message? Tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. Other than that, I've been Vivi, and thanks for watching, guys.